Has anyone ever given a nice guy a chance after they've thrown a tantrum because you didn't let them treat you like a queen? And if you did, how did it work out? Yes. It worked out that he also felt entitled to other things and felt like no wasn't an acceptable answer for things like sex when he did so much for me. Edit, Sprague poem since it's clearly more entertaining than my reply and buried in the replies to my reply edit too. Don't reply to me with man-hating bullshit please. Nice guys are an actual problem, but for every nice guy I've met a dozen regular guys just trying to live their lives. I've dated some really awesome dudes who it just didn't work out with and am still with an awesome guy who's been my rock through some really shitty times. I know just as many POS women as I know POS men. When they keep tally of all the things they did for you and bring it up when things don't go their way. Duck that. Excuse me, since we've met I've allowed you to take 525,600 breaths. Now you may be thinking I did that all on my own, but my darling dear, small-minded girl who I know that I want to and will marry, I could have killed you when we first met, which means you owe them to me and in return you will listen. At 12 breaths per minute, that's about 30,5 days of breathing. In case anyone's interested. I only breathe once per minute. Makes for a convenient way to measure a year then. Cups of coffee? Inches? Miles? Laughter? Strife? My sister did. She is a hairstylist and one of her clients was very aggressive about asking her out. He repeatedly bought flowers, concert tickets, and other gifts which he brought to her at work, and she said no each time because he seemed a little off. He got in a car accident and was really badly injured, and she felt sorry for him so she went out with him finally. They dated a few months before breaking up, I don't know the exact reason why. But after that he started stalking her. It's been over 5 years since then and he is still keeping tabs on her. She's reported him to the police multiple times, has a restraining order, and has blocked him on everywhere else, but every few months he finds a way to contact her. So if you get weird vibes from someone, don't give them a chance or you might end up with a lifelong stalker like my sister has. Aggressively buying gifts and bringing to your workplace after saying no each time is not just a little off. I'm a guy, and have had a stalker. Everyone laughs it off, I should be that lucky. It's not fun. I had to get the police involved for her to go away. I finally got rid of mine in 2017. Had to quit all social media. She even got into my Words with Friends account and was asking them where I was etc. tried to get into my house. Ducking nightmare. My dad told me to call the police. I was scared of what she would do. I'm 6 feet 3 inches, she's 5 feet 2 inches. I have never been so afraid. Don't have to be tall to stab people. Or shoot them. That's one of their selling points actually. I don't get it. Being treated like a queen means that you get a plot of land and subjects, right? These guys seem to do the opposite. Yes. The tantrums continued throughout the relationship. He was very controlling. If I was out with friends he would be upset that I was having fun without him. He ended up cheating on me and dumping me only to beg me back. He semi-staked me for a couple of years. Had an online blog about what I did each day and tried to befriend my exes. That sounds awful, I'm glad you shook him eventually, but Jesus Christ. What a power-tripping freakazoid. I dated a guy in high school. Relationship was okay but it was long distance so we amicably ended it. He was the one that brought it up and I agreed. Fast forward 6 months and he randomly messages me. Everything is friendly until I mention that I have a new boyfriend. The conversation did a quick 180 from hi how are you to you'll never find someone like me and how could I start dating again so soon. I blocked his ass real fast. And he was right, I never did find another guy like him because I married the new boyfriend, and we're still together 18 years later. You'll never find someone like me. Yeah, that's the point. Yes I did once, and I wish I didn't. He wasn't a nice guy after all. He treated me like I was the ugly one, I never felt more shitty in my whole life than when I was with him. I should have known. I was once in a similar situation. I dated a sweet guy. But honestly, sweet is subjective. He was a gentleman, but he insisted on always opening the car door for me. He literally would not let me touch the car handle, like at all, letting me eat first always, instead of both at the same time cause honestly it's not a biggie for me, commented that I should never cut my hair, etc. I felt like I was with a man from the 50s. It was draining to be treated like a queen instead of an equal. Other than that, He was okay. Anyways, when I broke up with him, I felt like he didn't want to let me go. Like I had to explain over and over again that I wasn't feeling it and that he deserved someone that would feel the same way about him. He hung up the phone with, "You don't know what you missed out on?" Okay, I guess. Edit, damn. I never thought a post about an ex would gain this much attention. Thanks Reddit. My first boyfriend visibly sulked if I ever opened the door for him, or even opened my own door. When I finally got him to tell me why, it was that he thought I was publicly showing everyone that I was making him my bitch. If I had any dating experience, I would have seen what a huge red flag that was. I ended up losing my summer job because he just started showing up every day and my supervisors thought I was miserable and inviting him. When I told him I needed space, he left more than 30 messages on my cell and so many voicemails on my digital answering machine that it broke. This is when it was a brand new thing and they couldn't handle much. Then, later that same morning, he showed up at my gynecologist appointment. Wow, it actually sounds so much worse when I see it written down. I know I shouldn't laugh at your misfortunes of being with an insane person, but your answering machine physically breaking is just hilarious. Lord, I cannot handle this person, I'm out. I finally allowed him to take me on a date to breakfast. Figured midday would be ideal to meet up in public. I offended him immediately when I spoke to the waitress. I said, "We have two," when she asked how many we had. He insisted that she was asking him, not me, and I emasculated him in public. I laughed it off as a joke. I grew up with all brothers. Surely, he was trying to be funny. We sat down. The waitress asked for our order. I gave her mine. He groaned and asked her to come back in a second. He told me proper protocol was for me to discuss what I wanted to eat with him, allow him to make the decision, and he was supposed to relay that to the waitress, not me. I told him he was crazy and left. Blocked his number. Ghosted completely. It baffles me that there are people like this. How did he make it to adulthood this way? He had explained to me that the reason he hadn't ever dated was because he had been focused on his career. However, I highly doubted that conclusion upon meeting him. I didn't, but my friend did. See, me and this guy had a mutual friend. This guy saw himself as a white knight and would use that term to describe himself. He had a code of honor, and he was always somebody who'd walk the girl home, lend out his jacket, that sort of thing. Well, mutual friend was asked out by this guy, and he threw a fit when she turned him down. So, she gave him a chance. At first, she was happy. He pulled out chairs, lent her his jacket, brought her gifts, that kind of thing. But it became apparent that he was incredibly possessive and things were always on his terms. So, they broke up. About 6 months after this guy was dumped, he decided he liked me. Telling him I wasn't interested didn't work the first or second time, so the third time I decided to just come out and tell him I was asexual. I hadn't done so before because I wasn't sure how he'd take it. He decided that I was lucky he was such a nice guy, because if he wasn't then he'd have taken that as a challenge. I haven't hung out with this guy since then. Just no. Edit, mutual not moodle, thanks. The old most guys would just but am not going to cause him nice. The you're lucky am nice just sounds rapey and super condescending. Met a guy online and he seemed really nice. He was a tad pushy about meeting up but I ignored that little feeling. We met up shortly after for a quick date, I think we got coffee and chatted. It was instant chemistry. He had 2 sons and I have 2 kids, both open to blended families, goal-oriented, smart, easy conversation. We decided to go out again the next night, really nice date and he was a complete gentleman. He mentioned on the date we'd have to get the kids together to see if they like each other. I laughed it off, like yeah maybe down the road, we just met and continued the date. 2 days later, during our texting I casually mentioned I was going to take my kids on a nature walk and I'd text him when I was back. He shows up with his kids. Now, I don't have it in me to be mean to children so I played nice and introduced myself. They were around 5 and 7, and very sweet boys, but inside I was creeped the duck out. After we parted ways I called him and told him that was not cool at all. Of course he played victim and hurt until I said I was uncomfortable with what he did. Then it was I'm just trying to love you and your kids, how can we be together if they don't meet, and you should appreciate a man trying with a woman with 2 kids. As if he didn't have 2 his damn self. He sent angry messages for about a week, I never would respond and he went away. To clarify, this all happened in a 2-week span. From start to finish. Like that secondhand I saw in a comment, if this were a train I would pull the emergency brakes cause it's going way too fucking fast.